This is not a song that I usually do, but it's a cover song, and I didn't write it. I don't know who wrote this song. I'm playing this song for my cousin Bunky because I told him about it, and I told him I thought it was a good song, and so here it is. It's about a man named Wag Dodge who was he was on a firefighting crew in just after World War II out west in the western United States, and he was actually very experienced. He had been doing this for a number of years and was very good at it, but he got transferred, and they put him in charge of a group of men on a jump crew who did not know him and did not know anything about him. After him being on that crew for a very short time, there was a big fire, and they flew him in, and they parachuted in to fight this fire, and there were a number of issues about chain of command and who was in charge and who was listening to who, and they ended up getting trapped by this fire, and they were trying to run up this steep ridge to try and get away from it, and he realized that they weren't going to be able to make it over that ridge top before the fire caught up with him, and he was the first person. He came up with the idea that, well, I mean, he just realized that if you intentionally burned a big area all around you and stayed right in the middle of that, then when the big fire flashed over, that maybe there wouldn't be anything to burn, and maybe you had a chance to survive. And that's what he did, and he told the other men to do that, and they looked at him like he was crazy, and they continued to try and run up the hill, and only two of them survived. Counting Wag Dodge, there were 16 men that flew in. He had 15 men under him, and out of those 15 men, only two of them survived. A few years later, he was dying from cancer, and he had never talked about it very much. And he was in a hospital, and he wasn't going to live very much longer, and a priest came and talked to him about it, and he sort of unloaded his story. My name's Dodge, but didn't you know that? It's written on the chart there at the foot end of the bed. They think I'm blind, that I can't read it, but I've read it every word, and every word it says is death. So confession, is that the reason why you came? Get it off my chest before I check out of the game. Since you mentioned it, well, there's 13 things I'll name, 13 crosses high above the cold Missouri waters. August 49, West Montana, hottest day on record, and the forest tender dry. Lightning strikes in the mountains. I was crew chief at the jump base. I prepared the boys to fly. I picked the drop zone. C-47 comes in low. Feel the tap upon your leg that tells you go. See the circle of the fire down below. 15 of us dropped above the cold Missouri waters. I gauged the fire, I'd seen bigger, so I ordered them to side hill. We'd fight it from below, we'd have our backs to the river. We'd have it licked by morning, even if we took it slow. But the fire crown jumped the valley just ahead. There was no way down, headed for that ridge instead. Too big to fight it, we'd have to fight that slope instead. Flames one step behind above the cold Missouri waters. Sky turned red, smoke was boiling. 200 yards to safety, death was 50 yards behind. I don't know why, I just thought it. Struck a match to waist high grass, running out of time. I tried to tell them, step into this fire. I said, you can't make it, it's the only chance you'll get. But they cursed me, ran for the rocks above instead. I lay face down and prayed above the cold Missouri waters. And when I rose like a phoenix in a world reduced to ashes, there were none but two survived. I stayed the night, and one day after carried bodies to the river, wondering how I stayed alive. 13 stations of the cross to mark their fall. I've had my say, I'll confess to nothing more. I'll join them now, those that left me long before. 13 crosses high above the cold Missouri waters. 13 crosses high above the cold Missouri shore.